thoughts, opinions, and general overall shades thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It's Friday, November 21st. And today is it's National Gingerbread Cookie Day today, you guys.
All right, we're getting all those Thanksgiving treats.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a little early for gingerbread cookies today. Like it's not even good Thanksgiving. But, you know, maybe
It's the week of, though.
I guess you could call this the week of. I wouldn't really necessarily call
We're
it
6
that,
days out.
We are 6 days out, but you know, to me the week doesn't start until Saturday, Sunday. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So,
it's a rolling week, dude, every 7 days.
Yeah, let me tell you what's rolling is this show is rolling. Okay, that's the only thing rolling over here, buddy. Let's see. I mean, you know, I was talking with some friends, you know, and they happened to be in El Salvador, and they already have all their Christmas decorations up in El Salvador. And I was like, that's so interesting, because in a lot of other countries, they start celebrating Christmas much earlier because Thanksgiving is only a U.S. holiday.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I know a lot of people that put up their Christmas stuff right after Halloween.
The tradition in America is, you know, unless you're kind of a, you know, little nutty, you usually put the Christmas decorations up after Thanksgiving.
Dude, we've been listening to Christmas music. We're getting in the Christmas spirit. I view Thanksgiving as a part of Christmas. It's like it's the first day of Christmas, really.
The first day of Christmas.
Yeah, because like it seems like in the work world, like for me, because I'm a B2B business as a freelancer, Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, nobody does anything. Nobody accomplishes anything. Nobody spends any money. The budgets are all gone. Everybody's kind of in slumber mode. So it's like, it's all Christmas.
Interesting. All right. Well, it's also
the holidays.
Yeah. It's also
and Hanukkah, right?
And Hanukkah. Yes. Don't forget
all
Hanukkah.
Of it. It's Kwanzaa, the whole thing. Yeah.
Don't forget Hanukkah, you guys. Don't forget Hanukkah. It's also National Red Mitten Day today, you guys. Shout out to Red Mittens.
All right.
Yes. I bet Dr. Mark has a pair of red mittens up there in Vermont. You got a pair of red mittens, Dr. Mark? You're on mute.
He's muted, but I got your red mittens right here.
I bet. I see what you did there, Jesse. That was cute. Speaking of,
mittens, but they're black.
You got black mittens. He's got black mittens. Interesting. We got to get you some red. We got to get you some red ones, Doctor.
I don't even know what the reference is. What's the deal with red mittens?
Red mittens.
I don't know either.
They have their own national day. What do you mean? Red mittens are important. They're important because they're red.
Why?
It's the most attractive color to the eye. That way you can, you know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Stick and move. Speaking of National Red Mitten Day, it's also, Jesse, you're going to love this. It's National Stuffing Day.
I do. Yes, I'm a big fan of stuffing.
I'm a big fan of stuffing. I'm probably not supposed to eat it, but man, I do love stuffing. No.
Stuffing this D in your mouth.
Oh, well, easy. Pause with all that.
In the bird or not in the bird?
I couldn't help it.
Out of the not in the bird. I just like regular stuffing with like some diced celery, diced onions, and you know what I'm saying, all the little spices and all that. You know what I mean?
Why don't you like it inside the bird?
Because it doesn't make sense to me to put it inside of the bird, to take it out of the bird to eat it. That's just ridiculous. It seems like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the whole point of stuffing is you stuff the bird.
That's true.
So as all the juices and fats kind of like ease out.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Dr. Mark.
The stuffing, right?
If you
don't stuff it.
If you stuff the turkey, then at that point, you're just going to have a drier bird.
Oh, that's not necessarily true.
That's true, bro. 100% is true.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll let you have it.
Dr. T is nodding. I think he might be in agreement.
He's in agreement. Doctors understand the science behind this. You know what I'm saying? This is it's just 1 + 1 = 2. You guys. You know, it's pretty simple. And
it means you have a drier bird if you don't know how to cook.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. If you put stuffing in there, it's going to be drier than if you didn't. I'll tell you that much.
You just got to add more moisture, dude. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
I bet. That's what she said. Well, and speaking of that, it's also everyone's favorite day in school, National Substitute Teachers Day.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I used to love when we get a substitute teacher in class.
Yeah, because you mess with them. They don't know what's going on.
Exactly. We made one cry one day. We were pretty bad. We were bad kids. You know.
I remember we did a whole thing where me and some friends decided to be each other. So when she called roll call, we answered as each other's names. Mm-hmm. So then she didn't know who was who the whole day.
Yeah. And everyone giggles in class and thinks it's so funny. Mm-hmm. Yep. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So thank you to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And man, I have a couple stories for you of some studies today, you guys. And I have another story. It's kind of maybe a sad story, but it's a cautionary tale for the holidays. But this one first, because CBD-Rich marijuana eases anxiety and repetitive behaviors in autistic children. A study finds, you guys. That's right. A new study published in the Journal of Cannabis and Cannabinoid Research reports that CBD-rich marijuana may help reduce anxiety and repetitive behaviors in autistic children, adding to a growing body of clinical evidence around cannabinoid-based therapies for pediatric autism. Researchers from Tel Aviv University and the University of Haifa followed 65 autistic children between the ages of 5 and 12 who are already enrolled in a clinical program evaluating CBD-rich marijuana for autism. Parents completed detailed assessments before treatment and at 3 months and again at 6 months, measuring 5 types of anxiety symptoms and 6 categories of restricted and repetitive behaviors. Across the 6-month period, children showed meaningful improvements in overall anxiety, along with specific categories including general, social, panic, and separation-related anxieties. Those reductions were accompanied by measurable drops in repetitive and restrictive behaviors, especially compulsive actions, ritualistic patterns, and sameness-driven behaviors that often interfere with daily functioning. One of the study's most notable findings was the connection between anxiety and repetitive behaviors. Children who experienced the strongest reductions in panic and separation-related anxiety went on to show the largest decreases in the sameness behaviors, suggesting that improving anxiety may have a downstream influence on other difficult symptoms. The authors caution that these results come from an open-label study rather than a placebo-controlled trial, meaning that expectations and other factors could play a role. However, they say the consistent pattern of improvement across multiple measures indicates that CBD-rich marijuana could hold therapeutic value worth exploring in more rigorous clinical trials. They recommended future double-blind research using standardized tools to confirm the findings and clarify how anxiety changes may influence broader behavioral outcomes for autistic children. Well, I think this is great news. It's lowering their anxiety levels and their repetitive behaviors. Overall, I have to think this is a good thing, but I can't wait to hear what you doctors have to say about this.
I'm really confused. What is CBD-rich marijuana? First of all, marijuana and hemp, we got to stop using those words. They just don't make sense.
I get it. I get it.
Is it cannabis that is CBD dominant but has a THC above 0.3%? What are they talking?
Type 3, I think, is what they're referring to.
Yeah, but
high in CBD, low in THC.
Some CBD-rich marijuana is CBD-rich hemp, right? It's the same plant, just called a different name.
Yep.
If it's below 0.3, it's called CBD-rich hemp. If it's above 0.3, it's called CBD-rich marijuana.
I'm willing to guess that it was actual weed, Dr. T, because the study was done in Israel, and they do have a very robust medical program out there.
Right.
And they don't draw some arbitrary distinction at
that's true
3%.
Exactly.
Look,
that's my first statement.
Meant to be a cannabinoid producing plant. Hemp was only meant to produce fiber and seeds and oil, and all planted close next to each other, just like row corns of corn, row crops of corn. I mean, you know what I mean? So when you say hemp, Dr. T, I think, again, we're really referring to type 3 cannabis, which is just cannabis that's enriched with CBDA as opposed to HCA.
Got it. Well, good news that this type 3 cannabis is useful for kids. We've been seeing it in the real world, so I'm glad that the studies are catching up to what we're seeing.
Right. What do you think, Jesse?
I mean, I'm glad that these kinds of studies come out. It's exactly contradictory to my story that I'm covering later with Dr. Amen on Tucker Carlson and the interview that was mostly about the quote unquote dangers of marijuana. And this guy, as a doctor, seems to say that conclusively every study is pointing to the fact that cannabis is bad for you. And there's clearly a mountain of evidence and studies that contradict him. So we'll get into that.
Look who decided to join us. We have a wild Jenny Beth sighting all of a sudden.
A wild Jenny Beth has popped in?
Yes.
Whoa.
Good morning.
Now we have JBQ.
Yeah, JBQ. Look at that. Look at that.
Right?
We're to the third power.
Look at that.
Third power, right?
Jenny, you have any thoughts on this autism study? CBD-rich marijuana is helping with?
Oh, CBD. So the CBD is helping autism. Is that the?
Yeah, it's helping them with their behavioral patterns.
Of course it is, right?
It's helping them with their
anxiety system. It maintains and regains homeostasis between the nervous system and the rest of the body. So I'm sure that makes sense. But I just got here, so no, I don't have a lot to add.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. You have anything else you want to add on this, Dr. T, before we move on?
No, good news.
Good news. We started off with some good news today. Because I'll tell you right now, yeah, we're going to end the show on some bad news. So I'm just giving you a heads up warning. All right. But on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial and we are going to be right back. Heard that before. Oh, and we are back. And I have some more good news, I think, doctors, for you guys today. And Jenny Beth Dills. because those with schizophrenia who use cannabis have significantly lower rates of metabolic syndrome. A study finds, you guys. That's interesting. A study published in Schizophrenia Research by researchers from the University of Adelaide finds that people with schizophrenia who use cannabis show lower rates of metabolic syndrome, a major driver of cardiovascular disease. The findings come from a cross-sectional analysis of 988 adults diagnosed with schizophrenia who participated in the CATIE study, CATIE, one of the largest clinical data sets available for this population. Researchers used hair testing to determine cannabis exposure, a method considered the gold standard for identifying long-term THC use, unless you cut your hair. They found that 14.8% of participants tested positive, and those individuals were substantially less likely to meet criteria for metabolic syndrome, with a prevalence of 42.5% compared to 60.5% among non-users. Even after adjusting for factors such as age, sex, ethnicity, smoking, and other substance use, cannabis remained independently linked to lower odds of metabolic syndrome, with an adjusted odds ratio of 0.64. The study also found that cannabis users had lower odds of evaluated waist circumference after adjustment. In unadjusted analysis, they also displayed lower weight, lower BMI, lower triglycerides, and higher HDL, cholesterol. Blood pressure and fasting glucose levels did not differ between the groups. And the authors cautioned that the cross-sectional design prevents any conclusions about causation, noting that more research is needed to understand the direction of the association. And still, the results add to a growing body of work suggesting that metabolic profiles may differ meaningfully between cannabis users and non-users in psychotratic populations. Well, look at that. Doctors, I need you to break this down for us.
I missed the learning words.
Mm-hmm. What's that, Dr. T?
So metabolic syndrome is a collection of symptoms. So whenever you have the word syndrome, it's a collection of symptoms. It's not a clear disease or why it's all happening. And it usually has to do with your blood sugar being high. You get some blurred vision, and you get thirsty. You pee a lot, and you're tired. Generally, you're overweight. So, it's something, the question, does cannabis worsen your metabolism? It influences your metabolism. The cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system, influences your metabolism, and seems to do a lot of good for it, as we're seeing here with the study. Especially if you tend to be pre-diabetic or diabetic, it seems to reduce those who use cannabis seem to have better weight control, appetite control, etc.
Interesting.
It's not how it works for me.
Oh, I mean, yes.
You use more CBD.
I probably do, because I end up on the couch with some Tostinos, 2 times a cheese dip, and gummy worms.
Yeah, no self-control. No self-control.
None. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a girl, Jason. I'm emotional.
I know. I'm glad you said it so I didn't have to.
Can't get you canceled this early in the morning.
Yeah. Yes. Dr. Mark, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of the same stuff. We know that the endocannabinoid system acts peripherally in the body, but also acts on the central nervous system. So I didn't know what this CATAI score was, so I had to look that up.
Catechol you're talking about, right?
No,
or
this
cytical?
Is talking about schizophrenia. So CATIE stands for Clinical Antipsychotic Trials of Intervention Effectiveness. And a lot of the drugs that are in there are things like your typicals, right, Dr. T, like benzodiazepines. Well, not just benzodiazepines, but things that are typically antidepressive, right? Or what are called antidepressives. Sometimes these things are what are called MAO inhibitors. MAO is an enzyme called monoamine oxidase, which is something that destroys neurotransmitters in the brain, but naturally it's part of the regulatory system. And yeah, I mean, this disease is schizophrenia is, there was a lot of scare stuff like, cannabis use was going to lead to schizophrenia. Cannabinoid receptors and receptors that the molecules in the plant act on are so important. It's hard to think that these two things can't be related, right? Because of the regulatory function that the endocannabinoid system serves. But I'm sure that, dopamine system is involved here, right, Dr. T? I mean, I don't confess to know a whole lot about schizophrenia and what underpins it.
I know a lot about schizophrenia.
Only think that, again, the endocannabinoid system, just balancing that, the way that the endocannabinoid system regulates homeostasis, would take a schizophrenic condition and maybe correct it. I mean, I'm just throwing it out. Maybe Dr.
Jason, you don't know about schizophrenia. You're just a Gemini.
I know a lot about schizophrenia, actually. I know plenty of crazy people. Plenty.
Well, we love you too.
See? Case closed.
Yeah, well.
I mean, Dr. T, I find this a little interesting because they often say that people with schizophrenia or the people that are prone to have schizophrenia should probably not use cannabis. But yet this is kind of saying the opposite a little bit, right?
Yeah, my experience with schizophrenics is that they're well, I mean, I have a biased practice because they come to me to use cannabis, but then I have many schizophrenics who have come to me to use cannabis to handle the side effects of the antipsychotics that they're getting, is usually what the benefit is. And it also helps with their mood, anti-anxiety. So to me, it's been effective. I think that data on psychosis from using cannabis, whether it's acute psychosis, basically getting high, or chronic psychosis where it's sort of entrenched and you're still having it, is a little misleading. But yeah, but for schizophrenics, there are a group that are benefiting from cannabis products. That's definitely true.
Look at that. Schizophrenics are benefiting from cannabis. Do you have any thoughts on this, Jesse, before we move on?
Dr. T, is psychosis and schizophrenia related to each other? Are they?
Yeah, schizophrenia is a condition where you have hallucinations, auditory or visual or otherwise. So that's one of the criteria for schizophrenia. So that's and the hallucinations are called psychosis. But you can also have an acute psychosis, which is limited. You get high, maybe you imagine something, and then it gets better when the cannabis wears away. So the distinguishing between acute psychosis and chronic psychosis, whether or not you're using a substance, you still get the psychosis, is important. Sometimes when you're reading these studies, you got to be careful. They're sort of testing the high versus the chronic psychosis in schizophrenia.
Well, interesting.
Sorry, we went down a rabbit hole there, but you asked.
No.
It's not as simple as it says. Good news is people are benefiting from cannabis again. That's good news.
Even the crazy ones, Dr. T. Even the crazy ones.
We're all a bit crazy. We're all a bit crazy.
Yeah. And on that, we're going to roll right into Dr. Jean Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where if you happen to feel a little crazy, you can go online and get your medical recommendation just in time. That's right. It is none other than Dr. Jean Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason. We welcome it. We welcome all stages of life.
Yeah.
Happy Friday, everyone. This week I chose a story about patients, so it seems to be a theme here again, using cannabis. The story comes from the BBC. It's titled, "He takes medical cannabis every day, but worries people think he's a lazy stoner," by Will Fife. Every morning, John Leader wakes up, has some breakfast, and takes cannabis before heading to his office job. The 41-year-old from Caerphilly in South Wales uses medical cannabis to help with his anxiety. But until agreeing to speak to the BBC, nobody John worked with realized he took it. I was a little bit nervous. "Are they going to start thinking you come to work stoned?" said John. John is one of an estimated tens of thousands of people in the UK with private cannabis prescriptions. Most patients we spoke to were paying a few £100s per month to get cannabis. Some patients, like John, said that using medical cannabis gave them the benefits they'd hoped to get from medications such as antidepressants. Getting behind the wheel of a car, through security at an airport, or even into a bar or club are all things cannabis patients say they have to think about carefully. And they must remember to always take their prescription to avoid being criminalized. Some say they still live in fear of being stopped by police, dismissed from their jobs, or even losing access to their children because of what they describe as the stigma attached to cannabis. One patient told the BBC she had a letter from her neighbor complaining about the smell of cannabis coming from her flat. "I was scared," admitted Kat Turner, 26, who puts pillows in front of her door in an attempt to stop the smell from spreading. "They could have called the police. That was my fear. I use my front door as little as possible because I'm afraid of any smell going into the communal area." Kat takes cannabis after being diagnosed with functional neurological disorder, but the drug can also be prescribed for things like PTSD, OCD, anxiety, and depression. John admitted he was nervous about telling his work he took medical cannabis for his anxiety because he thought his bosses might think he'll be working doped up. "In films and comedy programs, it's funny to depict people who smoke weed as lazy and clumsy," said John. "But really, that's not how it is. It just calms me down a little bit." John works for one of the country's largest employers and said that they've been incredibly supportive, but asked him not to name them. Patients in clinics that prescribe cannabis say there's little public awareness cannabis can be legal with a prescription. And John was worried some people just think of a lazy stoner when talking with someone who uses cannabis. He was first given medical cannabis after a mental health breakdown in his late 30s. "I get big spikes in my anxiety. I dwell on random incidents from the past and start panicking about the most random things," said John. "Weed stops all that for me." John, who was recently diagnosed with autism and is awaiting a possible ADHD diagnosis, said he was prescribed cannabis flower. One condition for John being able to access this treatment is that the buds must be vaped in a special cannabis vaporizer rather than smoked. It is not just Kat's neighbor who questioned her cannabis usage. She also was not allowed to take her medicinal cannabis into hospital last year. She says her functional neurological disorder means she can lose total control of her body, suffering intense tics and seizures. She was given a 3-week inpatient rehabilitation appointment at a specialist National Health Service unit in Bristol. Despite informing staff about before arrival, when she got to the hospital, she was told that she would not be allowed her cannabis. They implied that my medication could be illegal and that they wouldn't be able to really allow it inside, said Kat, who uses both cannabis buds and oil. They advised that I would only be able to take the medication if I left the hospital grounds. My main concern at that point was, how was I going to leave the grounds to use my medication because I have mobility issues and I'm very vulnerable, especially because of my seizures. After a lengthy discussion where I was made to feel like a criminal, I had to make the decision to leave. It felt quite devastating. It felt unfair. I've been able to go to festivals and concerts and things like that with my cannabis on me, says Shosh Appin, who spends at least 200 pounds a month on her cannabis prescription for PTSD and fibromyalgia. The 29-year-old said she often got funny looks when heading out into the smoking area on a night out, but when confronted by bouncers, had always been able to explain it was medical cannabis without problems. One of the main things for me is that I don't have the same degree of night terrors I had before, said Shosh, who often uses a wheelchair to get around. I know for some people the initial effects can be munchies or laughing, but I'd much rather have that than the depressive, possibly sleepy side effects of opiates. The article goes on. I highly recommend the read. It's a time warp. It reminds me of a time here in California where all use was medical. Illness is not a disability. Illness is a part of life. We will all go through it at some point or another. This story reminds me of an ad campaign that we ran back in the day called The Typical Stoner. The ads normalized cannabis by telling stories of typical everyday people who used cannabis. Back in the day, we all operated under the Compassionate Use Act and here in California, where people had compassion for each other no matter what your illness. It was an opportunity to be human and care for each other. So next time you light up, think of the Johns and the Cats and the Shoshes out there. They are people who don't have a choice. They need their cannabis. They're just like us. This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with High at 9 News.
You know, Dr. T, this sounds like what a lot of people used to have to go through, like in the 80s and 90s, when they would not want to get caught using cannabis. I remember being in tons of hotel rooms and having to put the towel underneath the door and all that, and you get a shower cap and you put it over the smoke alarm, and that's always the best way to go about that. And like this, and then you get your a lot of people used to have different air fresheners or whatnot that they would spray around, and I always felt like those were probably worse for you than anything. But.
The Ozium? Yeah, Ozium's terrible for you. I mean, it's very sweet of the hotels to provide us with the shower caps to tint the smoke detectors. That was nice of them to provide that.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
you guys are giving some great tips.
Oh, we are.
Trust me, we're professionals at this. You know what I mean?
Don't get me started on what you can do with a toilet paper tube.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really like in one of these places where you really can't get caught, you know what I mean? You just get one of those smoke buddies, and you can blow the smoke into that, and it totally dissipates it, and just
Well, that's what the toilet paper tube was, Jason. The original smoker buddy. You stick a little bit of toilet paper or a dryer sheet if you have one into the toilet paper tube, and you exhale into that.
Mm-hmm. Should always travel with dryer sheets. It's a must.
Dryer sheets are bad for you. They've done studies. I knew it was bad. That's why I have like 2 little plastic fish that go in there and get the static out. Dryer sheets are bad for you. It's poison in your clothes.
Oh man.
It's still happening today. I don't know what you guys do today, but I don't know any hotels that are allowing you to smoke in the rooms.
It's not about necessarily allowing, it's about what they can prove versus what you can get caught doing.
Right. So if there's no ash, there's no like physical proof, like I will dispute your little charge all day.
Yeah. Exactly. All day, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that smoking occurred. Now, I have seen some people that have got charges, and like there was no like real evidence of smoking other than the fact that they found like blunt guts in the trash can. And stuff like that.
I mean, it doesn't mean you smoked in there, but it's enough to be like, hey.
It's enough for them to be able to levy the fine. It is enough. Do you
remember that BizCon, Jason, when I was at the Venetian, I was like, do not smoke in this room. This suite is very expensive. I can't afford this fine. Don't you dare. And Jason Beck, for the first time, did not smoke in somewhere that was inappropriate for him to smoke.
Well, I mean, it was in my room, so I wasn't trying to, you know what I mean, to be that guy. You know what I mean? But me and my finances appreciate you, Jace. Yeah, trust me. I'm a big fan of finances. Dr. Mark, out in the Green Mountain State, I mean, you ever go to a bed and breakfast you're not supposed to smoke in? Because I know they don't have hotels out there.
They have hotels in Vermont.
When you graduated to consuming concentrates, you never smoke again, right? So I just stayed at a hotel, and I could totally roast on my Puffco Oxy some crazy nice hash, and it never stinks up the room at all. And I've never smoked in the room. So yeah, so I don't have to worry about that anymore, right?
This commentary brought to you by Hash Church.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, right. Full melt hash doesn't require smoking, right?
Yeah. Jesse,
it's not bubbling, it ain't worth the trouble.
Jesse, you look like you've been caught smoking in a lot of places in your lifetime.
Wow.
You're on mute. Nice. You're on mute, Jess. You're on mute.
Yeah, it's because I've lived in a lot of illegal states.
Yeah, see? Yeah, outlaw.
And I'm right next to one. Idaho. We got to remember there's still almost 10 states, or I think there maybe even is 10 states where it's fully illegal. And so this same concern is still a thing for a lot of American citizens, which is really crazy that we're not free to consume our cannabis. Just means we're not actually free. So this concern that someone's having in the UK, and it's clearly worse there, but maybe not worse than Idaho. I think that was pretty scary.
Idaho's pretty sketch. Like, don't get caught with anything in Idaho. You know, that's for sure. Unless it's a bag of potatoes. Russets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. They do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly to jail. Exactly. That's the way it is in Idaho.
It's very, very true.
That sounds like Kansas.
Yeah, exactly. Or Iowa. There's a few states. Yeah, there's and Wyoming too is pretty bad. So there's a bunch of states where this is the case, and stigma is real, you know, and then the fear is real, and then the way that you act when you're afraid is real. And it's really sad. So it's sad that we live in a world where, you know, your relationship with a plant causes you to be afraid.
You don't think
that level?
Doctors, isn't fear healthy? It's like how you know you're alive. It's like keeps your heart rate going and everything else like that.
No, fear is. I mean, if you have too much fear, it's a stressor.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of fear.
There's a healthy amount of fear. You're saying.
Well, there's you know, we have a fight or flight system, sympathetic system, you know, so we're built to protect ourselves in some ways with fear. But if you have to do it too much, it puts stress on your body.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well,
you know what puts stress on my body? Having to stand on a chair to put the shower cap over the smoke detector in the hotel.
That's right. That's right.
Well, if you're a little bit taller, you wouldn't have to worry about that, Jenny Beth.
I'm a lot taller than you.
And on that, we are going to roll into our next commercial, and we are going to be right back.
Every legend has a humble beginning.
In world news, leaders are gathering today for the annual summit.
I want to tell you something, Che. The government is watching us through the television.
Oh, John.
Look, right there. They're trying to hack into my TV box.
We're still not able to hack into the TV box, sir.
Ha! But they can't. I've rebuilt the entire electronic system, and it sends and receives signals through quantum phase space. They'll never get in. Engage target.
In other news, local authorities are investigating a series of strange atmospheric phenomena reported by residents.
Ma'am, we're with the federal government. We need to ask you some questions.
John?
Is there a problem? We've been trying to penetrate your TV box for over 6 months.
I told you they were trying to watch us through the TV, but you didn't believe me.
We can't get in, and to be frank, we have no idea what you've created.
Yeah, that's the point. It's called privacy. You know what the Fourth Amendment guarantees?
All we know is that we can't get inside. We want to know if you can create one for us.
QUX. Even the government wants one.
And stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com.
Introducing QUX Pay, or simply the Pay app.
Where you can pay like it's nobody's business.
Because it isn't. It's what everyone's been clamoring for. It's finally here.
Secure every payment. Your data stays private. QUX will never sell your data for profit, period. Pay friends, family, contacts instantly. No hidden fees. No limits. Spend on the move.
With this patented technology, you can use debit, credit, bank transfers, cash cards, and even crypto completely offline.
Amounts transferred through the Pay app reach their destination instantly. Transfers in a flash. As quick as sending a text. No more waiting around like crypto. Are you ready for the future of payments? The state of the art for money is finally here.
Data privacy and security protocols trusted by militaries and banks worldwide. QUX Pay, the Pay app.
Available as an app and point of sale system, personal and corporate accounts available. Go to QUXPay.com and start using the Pay app today.
Yeah, and we are back. And we are going to roll right to the Green Mountain State over there at St. Michael's University with Dr. Mark Scialdone. He's a chemist, and he finds compounds in cannabis that have not been found yet with his little magnifying glass. That's right, it is none other than Dr. Mark Scialdone.
No, that is not his. He's a deadhead. He's a chemist. He's a professor. He's a bird. He's a plane. It's Dr. Mark After Dark Scialdone.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
She's getting all excited today, you guys.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
You got a Gemini introduction, technically, Dr. Mark.
Yeah, I got a double introduction. Well, thank you so much, JB Squared. And happy Friday to everybody. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you got some great plans for the weekend. And that you're going to be smoking lots of cannabis. Okay, so today my story comes from the MJ Biz Daily, and it says, why the federal hemp THC ban is bad news for cannabis genetics. So the bill ushering federal hemp THC prohibition that Donald Trump signed into law last week also spells trouble for the trade in marijuana genetics. Marijuana seeds, once considered legal by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, also become federally illegal in November 2026 if the plants produce above 0.3% THC threshold, attorney Jason Adelson warned. Seeds from high THC genetics, including THCA, that were previously legal to trade will become federally illegal marijuana, he wrote in a recent blog post. The implications for international seed trade are immediate and severe. As MJ Biz Daily reported, many cultivators in the $32 billion regulated marijuana industry still favor seeds when developing genetics flower, the most popular product category for retailers. Many seed banks, other providers of cannabis genetics, advertise their wares online and offer interstate shipping and in some cases international shipping. That is in part because of the 2022 DEA determination communicated in a 2022 letter to California attorney and noted High at 9 correspondent, none other than Omar Figueroa himself, that cannabis seeds, tissue culture, and other genetic materials meet the federal definition of hemp. However, last week's spending bill excludes from the new federal definition of hemp viable seeds from a plant that produces flower with 0.3 or more % total THC, including tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, or THCA. The hemp THC ban tucked into the spending bill is the accumulation of a lengthy effort to close the so-called hemp loophole in the 2018 Farm Bill that led to the rise of a 28.3 billion hemp industry. Popular products like hemp-derived THC beverages, as well as gummies and THCA flower, are set to become subject to enforcement, though it's still unclear what action authorities will take. The new rule will take effect on November 13th, 2026, giving the industry a year to adjust. Advocacy groups are pushing Congress to replace the restrictions with a regulatory framework that allows hemp products under strict guidelines. But Addlestone added there's just another loophole. While marijuana seeds will no longer be considered hemp, Congress left out two key forms of genetics which still may be permitted in interstate commerce that he posted in LinkedIn. The new legislation targets viable seeds, but he appears to be silent on tissue culture and clones. That leaves the door open for breeders to still carry on in the trade of marijuana genetics should the ban take effect. Well, this is really an interesting story because I think we all know that the seeds themselves don't contain THC, right? The seeds grow up into plants. When the plants go into flower, that's when THC is produced. So if you're looking at a seed, whether it's a hemp seed or a cannabis seed, you can't just make a difference just by looking at the seed. So I guess somehow they're going to have to put seeds in, like when they confiscate seeds, right? They don't immediately know it's a high THC variety until they actually grow the plant. So if they're going to try to enforce this, they're going to have to basically, grow the plant up, find out that it's high THC, and then charge the people for selling marijuana seeds. I don't know. This just seems really fucked up because there's no way they can test the seed, say that this seed is a high THC variety and high CBD variety until they actually grow up the plant. So I think this is just a bunch of lip service. I don't know how they're going to possibly enforce this at the product level or at the flower level, let alone at the seed level. I think it just speaks to the whole ridiculousness of, what the government's done here. And that's my opinion, my story here from St. Michael's College here in Colchester, Vermont. I'd be interested in what my other correspondents have to say about this story.
So Dr. Mark, right away, I just want to address this. The new bill, if you go read it, it has it right in the beginning of the bill. It has this very specific clause that outlaws all seeds. So regardless of THC content. So it actually makes an exception to the THC rule, saying that all seeds will be included.
Which is terrifying.
So what about the hulled hemp seeds down here at Whole Foods? Are those against the law too?
They will be.
That somehow there's an exclusion in the bill for food seeds, and I don't know how they did that, because it specifically says any seeds for growing cannabis or
bullshit. All they're trying to do is throw a big fucking net, try to take down as many people as they possibly can, and guess what? What army is going to go out and enforce this, right?
Well, they already are.
Right?
They already are. They already are.
They already are. They already are. There was a story. There was a story yesterday, and
bullshit, which is basically what our government is known for.
It's not actually, Dr. Mark, and I hate to push back on you so hard, but there's already some busts happening in Florida right now.
Well, there was a bust. I was actually gonna bring it up. In your neck of the woods in South Burlington, a smoke shop employee cited for selling cannabis to minors. A South Burlington smoke shop employee is in hot water after allegedly selling cannabis to kids. It allegedly happened on November 2nd.
We shouldn't be selling weed to kids. I have some strong feelings on this because when the Farm Bill was signed, thanks Trump initially, I was breeding, right? And so here's the whole thing. Here's what's going to happen. We're going back to selling novelty seeds for bird feed. because any loopholes that we find that we can jump through, we're going to jump through. And that's really what's the unfortunate thing here. And Jason, I know we disagree on this point, and I've said for as long as I've been on the show that the Farm Bill was a loophole. It wasn't a pathway forward, and that people exploiting that is going to screw us. And look, here, it's come to roost. We're now screwed. They've closed the loophole. I mean, they've overcorrected, right? Why? Because we overused a loophole.
I
were selling
disagree
things
with
that get you high that weren't actually cannabis, that weren't sold in a regulated way. It sucks. Everybody should have access, but we didn't. That's not the reality. And now look what's happening. Look at it.
I disagree with all of this analysis. Every single bit of it. I disagree with all of it, because I'm going to tell you right now, this is the perfect setup, you guys, for Trump to be the hero, okay? Because now they're going to redo the Farm Bill. It's going to be the whole October surprise this time next year, right before the midterms, to where all of a sudden now hemp is not banned. And just wait and watch, because this thing doesn't go into effect until next November. And so we have plenty of time to be able to reevaluate and get some sensible legislation in place. And meanwhile, everyone's in a whole panic and a whole little, you know what I'm saying? What was her name? The girl from the Wizard of Oz, you know what I'm saying? In the little tornado, you know what I mean? With her little dog Toto too, you know what I'm saying? Just
okay, well, we want to have little dog Toto come figure this out, because right now we are fuck diddly up.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. That's ridiculous.
Jason,
you're promoting hysteria.
I'm speaking specifically from a genetics point of view, right? Yeah. If you are a seed breeder, we were able to operate in this nice little gray area where our seeds don't contain THC, right? We're not looking at the intent of what you're going to do when you get them. We put a nice little insert in the package before we ship them to you that says for, whatever purpose, for novelty purpose only, don't definitely don't germinate these. Please don't grow a bunch of weed, wink, wink. But here now we're looking at a fact that, like, we were able to skirt by for that for so long, and people made a tremendous amount of money. Do you know the easiest way
it's
to
not
increase
called skirting when it's legal.
Hold on. Do you know the easiest way to increase the price of the plant you're growing? Germinate it, because seeds were worth more than weed for a long time. And now we're looking at a situation where you're scared again, like where we are going to probably see people, we're going to see breeders, we're going to see seed banks getting raided. We're going back. We're not going forward.
That's good. Everyone wants the price of cannabis to go up, so maybe we do need to go back.
Who wants the price of cannabis to go up?
Everybody does. Everybody in the industry.
Everybody in the industry.
Everybody in the industry does.
Money.
Yeah.
I don't want it to go up.
Customers don't want it to go up, and the people who need access don't want it to go up. Only the people who want it to be an industry want it to go up.
Well, they can sell it to themselves. The customers will also sell it to themselves on a different level, though.
You're so funny. You guys in your imaginary worlds is so cute.
I mean, but it's not an imaginary world, Jason. It happened.
It is an imaginary world, because no, it hasn't happened. There is something that has happened, but it hasn't happened, okay? Because there's a time of when it happens, and that's not until next year. And there's plenty of time for other things to happen and manifest and create.
Well,
and blossom.
My dear sweet breeder brethren, I implore you right now, blast all your seeds out as soon as humanly possible, because we're about to head into a clockwork orange just a little bit, and that is not a Trump. I love Trump. That is a direct result of what the hemp industry has done with the Farm Bill's allocations.
Again, I totally disagree with a lot of this analysis, and I think everyone is freaking out.
But you know what you don't disagree with? You know what you don't disagree with?
What do I not disagree with, Jenny Beth?
Happy birthday, Nick Bradley.
Oh, yes, and happy birthday, Nick Bradley. Yes.
Say it, Jesse Barney. Say it, Jesse.
Happy birthday, Nick Bradley. I got no problem with it.
Oh, man, that is classic. Nick Bradley, happy birthday, buddy. Hope you have a great day today. Hope everything's doing good. Dr. Mark, you have any final thoughts you want to throw in on this before we move on?
He's a troll in one. Happy birthday, Brad.
Oh yes, a troll in one. Oh, that was fantastic. And on that, we're gonna roll into our final commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
That we are back. Jenny Beth, are you going to introduce Jesse Barney or shall I?
Hey,
Okay, all
coming
right.
up next,
Okay.
the Ginger Ninja from the Pacific Northwest, High at 9 News' favorite grandpa. I don't think any of you guys else are grandpas, so that's why you won that race. Gwen Barney's husband and the founder of Barney Design Co., Jesse Barney.
All right. Thank you, Jenny Beth. I missed your introductions. I'm glad you're here today.
Miss you too.
My story comes out of the Times of India, and the headline is Tucker Carlson versus marijuana. Dr. Daniel Amen warns of toxic brain damage in his latest episode of his podcast. I'm not going to read this article because I actually listened to the podcast, and I listened to it before this article came out. And it was quite upsetting for a number of reasons. As Dr. Daniel Amen, and he seems like a sweet guy. He seems well-intended. He seems to care about people. But I think he is ill-informed on many fronts. So this podcast episode on Tucker Carlson, first of all, Tucker's not educated on cannabis enough at all, but he's had addiction problems in his past, so he's anti any substance already, so he has a bias. So when Dr. Daniel Amen is speaking, Tucker just kind of rolls with him and doesn't challenge him really on anything. That was one of the first upsetting parts of the whole thing. I wish that Tucker had somebody who was an expert. Specifically, the whole episode, I was thinking of you, Dr. T. I was thinking, man, I wish that Dr. T was here to go line by line with this guy and challenge him on everything he's saying, because everything he's saying is either half-baked or half-informed, or based on a few studies, and then he would say things like these things are conclusive. But I'm just going to list a bunch of things that he said, because I bullet pointed. He said almost 30 or almost 40 specific things that he listed about the dangers of cannabis. So I'm just going to try to go through a bunch of them and show you what this guy is saying. And I would encourage, a lot of you probably don't like Tucker. Understood. Makes sense.
I love Tucker.
I love Tucker too. And sometimes he makes me mad because he doesn't challenge his guests enough. But a lot of his views I really enjoy, and I wish he was just more educated on cannabis, because he's kind of anti. But that's one thing I disagree with him. But so Dr. Amen said things like, every area of the brain always shows lower blood flow and activity with marijuana use. And he's using an SPECT. I forget what that is. It's a brain scan that shows blood flow and brain activity. And he's saying that it's always the case that cannabis reduces blood flow and reduces brain activity. When I heard that, I was like, that just can't be true. It cannot be a universal truth, and he's stating it like it's a universal truth. It sounds like there's something else that he's correlating, and that he's using subjects that probably have other comorbidities or other things going on in their life that are also influencing them, and they're using cannabis, and then he's blaming it all on cannabis. He says that cannabis reduces mitochondrial function. Again, it's like, okay, dude, whatever. It causes tiredness. It causes low motivation. It's associated with depression. Over time, it can cause more anxiety. He said, he stated emphatically that if you're anxious, cannabis will increase your anxiety. It can do nothing else. He said in vulnerable people, it increases the risk of psychosis. For certain genetic makeups, it increases the risk of psychosis 700%. Overall, 2 to 4 times increased use of psychosis for anyone and everyone, especially if use starts in the young. And we know that there's studies that contradict this. So it's just like he's quoting just a few studies that agree with him, and he's acting like that's the only evidence that exists. He said that it alters the development of the developing brain. It contributes to higher incidence of anxiety, depression. He repeated himself. And then there's this whole section in the interview where he starts to talk about the increase of mental health problems in young people, where he said that 57% of teenage girls are persistently sad, and 32% of them have considered suicide at one point in their life, which is an incredible number. I don't know where he's getting that from. And he blamed it on cannabis. He was saying that marijuana is a major part of this increase in depression and mental health problems amongst teenage girls, up to this 32% of teenage girls considering suicide. And I thought immediately, I was like, social media is the reason that's happening, not cannabis. And I know that cannabis use amongst teens in places where it's legal actually goes down. So where he's getting this from and how he's making these associations, I have no idea, but it's pretty intense. He went on to say that in his scans, he would say that cannabis is toxic and creates toxicity in the brain, which we also know not to be true. So we know cannabis is a neuroprotectant. There's so many things about cannabis that contradict what he said. He said it's directly toxic to the cerebellum. He even went on to say, and this is where I was like, what is this guy? Why is this guy so adamant and saying such crazy things? He said that the cannabis use decreases brain size and volume. Like your brain shrinks if you smoke weed. So stupid. And then it increases the risk of dementia. It increases anxiety. He warned of if you use it for chronic pain, that it's like some sort of addiction. He was claiming that if you start using cannabis for chronic pain, if you stop using cannabis, the pain will come back and you can't get off of the cannabis. You're now addicted for life in order to manage the pain. And that's also not true. He said it changes your personality. One of the things at some point he called it a weapon of mass destruction. And then he said that this is all this other evidence of it being good for you is because there's some people that are making so much money in the green rush that there's all this lobbying dollars and all these things that are pushing for this politicization of cannabis. So that's like a slew of some of the things that he said. He said so many more things. I mean, it's over an hour. I think it's an hour and a half long interview. Dr. T, I really wish that you would, you probably don't like Tucker that much, but I really wish that you would go listen to this interview and like take this doctor line by line and go against him, because this interview just went out to millions of people, and they're the people that we need on our side. And And we need to fight this guy's viewpoint with science as well. And he's acting like kind of like the expert, and he's acting like there's consensus behind all the things that he's saying. And Tucker did ask him a few times when he would say something that was a little outlandish. Tucker would say, can you confirm that's consensus? And he would just say yes. And then Tucker really had nowhere to go with that. So I'd really like to see a pushback against this episode, because it's definitely going to create waves. So, yeah, that's my story today. Dr. Daniel Amen on Tucker Carlson, horrible interview, really bad propaganda that went out. And as the cannabis community, it's on us to fight back. So my name is Jesse Barney with High at 9 News. I'll kick it over to my fellow correspondents, and
I'll push back.
Throw this around. Yeah.
I'll push back gladly. As the only one on the panel that I can confidently say has had experience being a teenage girl.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you know of.
It is 2025, Dr. T, and that ponytail is ponytailing, so I'll just mind my business. But no, I mean, it sucks, and it is difficult growing up as a teenage girl. It's difficult growing up being a teenage anybody. Your hormones are flaring. You don't really know what's what. Girls are mean. Girls are real mean. High school girls are awful.
Yeah, they are. Mean Girls. They had a whole movie about it.
They did have a great movie, Wednesdays We Wear Pink. So, I think that this is absolutely ridiculous. We've shown studies that are absolutely the opposite of what he said. He touched on the dementia piece. We've shown that cannabis use in patients with dementia has greatly reduced their agitation and the things that make living with dementia so difficult, not just for the patient, but for the caregiver. There's actual evidence, not just anecdotal evidence, scientifically proven evidence that refutes damn near every statement this man has made. Also, as a former high school girl, long time ago, I can tell you that smoking weed calmed me down. I don't encourage students in high school to smoke weed, but I will tell you that I did not grow up with the happiest life, and cannabis definitely helped me there. I can also say that, causation and correlation, once again, the doctors have both harped on this repeatedly. If you are crazy and you smoke something that alters your mind state, you are still going to be crazy with an altered mindset. And so this is absolutely asinine to me, the fact that Tucker Carlson let this man drone on for that long and spew that much bullshit. But I'll let Dr. T do it, because I'm sure he can refute these claims in a much better way than I can.
Well, rather than me, I mean, we all went down this negative path toward attitude toward cannabis decades ago, and when the DEA said that the high potential for abuse with no medicinal properties, despite the fact that there are cannabinoids now that are pharmaceutical medicines. So there is the scientific community giving you double speak in reality, and if you want to believe this guy, you can go ahead, but you can also believe that cannabis has no high potential for abuse and no medicinal properties. But those people who are using cannabis, those people who actually know, and I don't think this guy has ever tried it, or I don't know what his experience is with it, but it's clearly not what the most of the population is experiencing, which is a huge interest in using cannabis and a lot of benefit from using cannabis. So you don't need a scientist to tell you that. You've experienced it yourself. A scientist will tell you that the sky is orange when it's blue. Are you going to believe it?
It's all about your color spectrum on what colors you can see and can't see, Dr. T.
You believe what you're experiencing. That's true. No need to have this scientist guy steer your life. And being a scientist myself, we criticize each other all the time, and people say a lot of things that are incorrect all the time. There's a process for that here, and it's usually not through the Tucker Carlson show.
Well, Dr. T, you know what I have to say to that? Amen to that, because that was the doctor's name, Dr. Amen. Yes, and weed for the people, of course, without a doubt. But I don't expect anything less than these type of propaganda pieces to be put out. You know what I'm saying? We always know that Tucker hasn't been a big fan of weed. He doesn't really understand it. He did smoke weed at one point in his life and doesn't smoke weed and whatnot. And you know, and he's bought into the reefer madness argument. So I don't know why anyone's surprised that this doctor is on and they're talking about this narrative. I mean, I definitely wasn't surprised at all.
I mean,
whatsoever.
Jason, it's like your parents, right? We're not surprised. We're not mad. We're just disappointed. You know, I think especially when they were talking about anxiety and how nothing can. Yeah, if you go and smoke something that is really, really, really cerebrally active and you're anxious, I don't smoke sativas because they will make me run through a brick wall because I have anxiety. However, when I was dealing initially with PTSD and a generalized high anxiety disorder, like I smoked cannabis and that made me normal. So there's such a thing as usage that doesn't make you high, right? Like it plugs into the receptors in a way that, like, if you're getting what you need to get, that's like fitting into that puzzle of what you need at that time, you're not getting high, you're getting fixed.
So are you telling me that you don't smoke sativas because you enter a mind altered state where you embody yourself as the Kool-Aid man?
Hey.
See what I'm saying?
Yes. And maybe Fat Albert, I don't know. But yeah, I can't because I don't need anxiety. I already have anxiety. I don't need an extra side of anxiety with my anxiety dinner, right? However, that's why I'm an OG girl, and I've always been an OG girl. That just kind of fits my situation and what I need. I need to chill the fuck out.
Easy with all the F-bombs.
Haven't met me. Oh, sorry. My bad. I'm using the F-bomb. I'm working on it. I'm new here.
We know.
You know, like, yeah, and they're I just am so concerned because Tucker is such a large platform and Tucker's audience is largely the people that we're already trying to convince, hey, this is genuine, this helps people, this is medicine. And that is the danger to me because what this man spewed was misinformation, absolutely biased studies. And, you know, we're already, if we look at what just happened with seeds, with everything else, we're taking a step back and we don't have the political capital. We don't have the time to be set back and have to go unstigmatize cannabis from the people who already weren't on board with us fully anyway.
I wonder if Kevin Sabet...
Just to say that there are three types of cannabis. Anyone who makes blanket statements about cannabis, these three types are vastly different. Chemical compositions. And so if you're making a blanket statement about cannabis, then you don't know what you're talking about. Just move on with this. If they don't distinguish the three types, then they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, that's the problem, though, Dr. T, is that they don't know what they're talking about, but to the normal population who's out there, who's on the conservative side, who are people that we are trying to win over, and we need them on our team. We need them to understand cannabis in the correct way. They hear a guy like this and they hear, you know, Dr. Amen, and they hear that he's done studies and he's a psychiatrist who does this SPECT analysis, and they just assume that he really knows what he's talking about. And that's really the problem here. As you said earlier, that like if the scientist tells you that the sky is red, well, there's this huge portion of the population that will believe you, just because you have the placard.
You are right about that, Jesse. And just to speak to that, I was at a very, very, very conservative dinner earlier this week. And a very extremely conservative dinner. Yeah, extremely conservative dinner this week, and it wasn't because of the plate size, but there were some moms there that were getting up and asking questions on why is cannabis being allowed to be so mainstreamed in so many different ways. And I did find it very, very, very interesting as far as all their perspectives and where they were getting their data and their points and their talking points from. So, you know,
did they say the same thing, that there's like big money in cannabis that's promoting it?
No.
Did they? Because that was iterated by Dr. Amen.
It was more about the fact that cannabis is making our children schizophrenic and things like that. That was a majority of the talking points.
Yeah.
You know, in regards to the details, there is when you're using type 1 cannabis, you can get this increase in blood flow to your brain, as well as increase in blood flow to the rest of your bodies. Chronic users tend to have less blood flow throughout the brain than non-users. Does that translate to cerebral deficits? There's arguments on both sides saying yes and no, and there's some arguments that are saying that it actually improves cognitive abilities, and so that debate is still out.
Fair enough. Dr. Mark, you have any final thoughts you want to throw in on this before we move on?
Really want to know?
Yeah, of course we want to know, Dr. Mark. Of course. That's why we asked.
Tucker is a fucking moron, and so are the people who pay attention to him. So it's no surprise that a quack like this, who is known for peddling bullshit, right? This guy is not published in the peer-reviewed literature. Experts basically call him a quack, and now Tucker has him on to speak to this huge swath of people that pay attention. Oh my God! Don't get me started.
Yeah,
well, you're started. Keep going.
Anti-science, right? Tucker's a freaking moron. The thing that he's in love with is the size of his bank book. Period. End of
That's
story.
not where I thought you were going with that.
Move on. Let's talk about something more productive.
I love. Yes.
I like it when Dr. Mark gets triggered.
Yeah, he's getting it, baby.
I'm happy to be one of those morons, Dr. Mark.
We should dose him, Dr. Mark.
Yeah, let's dose him.
Lot justice.
Yes. Well, I told you guys I do have.
You asked me for my opinion.
I trust me. I wanted Dr. Mark. I want it all. That's the whole thing. We want a wide varying, you know what I'm saying, of opinions, a whole swath. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I would challenge you a little bit and just say that calling everyone who listens to someone that you disagree with a moron may not be the best approach.
Well, okay, you could listen to him, right? But you know, again. Let me give you some other suggestions. There's Bugs Bunny. There's the Flintstones.
That's the same thing.
There's a lot of other more entertainment that you could spend your time watching, or you could actually open a book and learn. You know, to your library. You know,
That's the same thing. I mean, I would push back on you. I think that
this guy has been known for a long time to be peddling this bullshit, and yeah. Fuck this guy. It's not even worth our time here on High at 9.
There we go.
Well, then again, he's talking to millions of people that we need to win over, and so we need to understand what is being said to them.
If they're paying attention to the crap that dude peddles, then yeah, maybe they're too far gone.
Oh boy.
That's how you get. That's how you get non-communication, is when you're unwilling to talk to people and tell them that they're too far gone, then they're just not going to listen to you. And that's an attitude that just creates more division. And we don't need more division. We actually need to reach across and actually make connections with these people. I mean, that's not the way that we do it. So calling people morons and telling them that they're clowns and telling them that they're telling them, hold on, and telling them that they're less than Bugs Bunny or other forms of our cartoon and entertainment isn't going to get you anywhere, because what they're going to do is they're going to say, no, you're the clown, you're less than Bugs Bunny, and now you just have an argument over nothing. But what we need to do is actually make connections and talk to these people and get true understanding, and it doesn't happen that way.
I think Dr. Mark's commentary just made great TV, and I appreciate the visceral reaction that he had.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
No, I do too. I mean, it's illuminating for sure.
Well, on that, I have something else that'll be illuminating. And let me tell you something, guys. We have the holidays coming up. And so whatever you do, learn from this story and do not be this guy this holiday season, okay? Because I told you it's a rough story we're going to end on today. But Las Vegas police, they find a marijuana vape pen on a driver in a deadly 12-car crash. And charges have been upgraded to murder. That's right. The 19-year-old accused of causing a 12-car collision on Tuesday carried a marijuana vape pen and reached speeds of upwards 100 miles per hour before killing 2 people and injuring several others. Police allege in documents the 8 News Now investigations obtained on Thursday. Jose Gutierrez initially faced 4 counts of reckless driving resulting in death or substantially bodily harm, records said, and he was hospitalized after the crash and was booked into the Clark County Detention Center on Wednesday. He posted standard bail later in the day on the reckless driving charges, meaning he did not see a judge before his release, and police said Gutierrez remained hospitalized and in Metro custody for continuous care. On Thursday, prosecutors upgraded his charges to 2 counts of open murder, 1 count of attempted murder, and battery with the use of a deadly weapon, and records said. He was later rebooked into the jail on the new charges, which do not offer standard bail. The 12-car crash happened around 3:30 p.m. at the intersection of Cheyenne Avenue and Jones Boulevard in the Northwest Valley. Gutierrez's passenger, Adeline Duran Rinkin, who's 20 years old, was killed in the crash along with another driver, Edward Garcia, 38. The Clark County Coroner's Office confirmed the identities on Wednesday, and video the 8 News Now investigators obtained on Thursday shows the car speeding towards the intersection where several vehicles are waiting on Cheyenne Avenue at a red light. The speeding vehicle then collides with several cars, and one spins around as flames erupt and lands in the intersection. The car Gutierrez was driving is registered to Rincon's mother, document said, and in the hospital, Gutierrez first denied driving, but later changed his story and admitted he was behind the wheel. Gutierrez, who did not remember the collision itself, told officers that he had not consumed alcohol or marijuana in the past week, though an officer noted Gutierrez displayed bloodshot and watery eyes. And officers located a marijuana vape pen in one of Gutierrez's pockets, police said, and as of Tuesday, detectives had not ruled out impairment and said Gutierrez was possibly under the influence of marijuana at the time. Police took 2 blood samples from Gutierrez after his arrest, which is standard in impaired driving cases, and those samples remained pending as of Thursday, though detectives likely rushed their results. And standard bail is a process where justice courts offer a way for defendants to post an assurance that they will return to court without first seeing a judge, and criminal cases in Nevada begin in justice court, which townships administer, and Nevada law allows defendants the opportunity for a probable cause hearing within a day of their arrest, and posting standard bail essentially waives that right. Records show the Las Vegas Justice Court schedules $5,000 for each count Gutierrez initially faced, totaling $20,000 in Nevada, and bail bond companies can cover a defendant if that defendant posts 15% of the cost, meaning he likely paid $3,000 for his release. Gutierrez later returned to jail on new murder charges, records said, and a 2020 Nevada Supreme Court decision changed the state's bail system, making the payment necessary to reasonably ensure the defendant's appearance. It was not immediately clear when Las Vegas Justice Court updated its fee schedule, but Gutierrez was scheduled to appear in court on the murder charges on Friday, and a GoFundMe page for Duran's family indicated she was pregnant, unfortunately. As the 8 News Now investigators first reported Wednesday, a Metro police officer cited Gutierrez on October 3rd for speeding in the Northwest Valley near Lone Mountain Road and El Capitan Way, and Gutierrez was driving the same vehicle as in the November 18th crash. The officer cited Gutierrez for driving 52 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone, and Gutierrez was not scheduled to appear in court for that ticket or pay it off until January 5th, and the ticket was reduced to a violation of 40 miles per hour in the 35 zone. Several people in the area told 8 News Now on Thursday that the intersection is dangerous, and in a quote they say, "I try to avoid this intersection," Brian McElfresh said. "I come in from the backside and have been for months because it's gotten worse and worse and worse the last 4 or 5 months. Metro Police asked anyone who witnessed the crash or Gutierrez's driving beforehand to contact them, and witnesses can call 702-828-3595, or to remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555. Visit crimestoppersofnv.com or use the mobile app P3, you guys. Well. Do not be this guy. We want to send our condolences out for all the families that have lost loved ones in this crash, and are going to get to spend their time with their loved ones this holiday season. But don't be this guy. This is a perfect example of what not to do this holiday season, you guys.
Jesus, Jason. Why? You know, I come back one fucking freaking time. Freaking. And you have one job, and it's to end the show on a happy note.
Not today.
And this is what you bring me. I was like, I need more Diet Coke for this.
It's all right. It's all right, you know. But I think it's a cautionary tale. Don't ride around.
Let's also acknowledge this guy is 19 years old. He's not even old enough to have a freaking vape pen on him. Like,
where'd he get it?
There's so many things that went wrong here. Like, why are you driving your mom's car? I still get $100 twice a month because some 17-year-old idiot driving his mom's car totaled my parked car in 2017. So, like, there are so many things that went wrong here. I would start with parenting. I mean, listen, you got to work with what you got. But why are you allowing your obviously reckless child to behave in this manner? I hate that there was a vape pen there. I wish it would have been some Zens or something. He was all hopped up on his upper decker. But he wasn't. Unfortunately, now Cannabis is the bad guy again because this guy made a terrible, immature decision.
I agree. I told you we were going to end on a sad story. I told you guys from the beginning.
This is awful. The pregnant lady, like, Jason, stop. I was trying to have a good day today.
I mean, you know, Dr. T, they upped his charges to murder because they found the vape pen.
Yeah, I don't know what having a vape pen in your car has to do with any of this. I think it's just something to, to showboat. I don't know, maybe to get some more readers. But, did the vape pen, did he have THC in his system?
So it said that they took the blood samples, but from the time that this article came out to them releasing the blood sample data or whatnot, that they haven't released that information. But they did say that the driver said that he had consumed any cannabis or drunken anything within over a week. But if you got a vape pen in your pocket, like you're probably lying.
That's cool and all.
Some people only use once a week. They just carry it around for.
No, they don't. Stop it. No, no one does that. No one.
I talk to people every day.
No one does that. Stop it.
They're not all in there for the high. Sometimes it's just something to calm them down, and they don't need to calm down more than once a week.
Well, you know what? I wish you would have hit the damn vape pen because this is once again. Did Tucker Carlson write this freaking article? Because studies have shown that drivers that are high typically drive slower. They're not going 90 to 110 miles an hour down the freeway slamming into your grandma. This is absolutely asinine right now. And the fact that he had that vape pen on him just annoys the crap out of me because now we're blaming it on weed when weed had nothing to do with this. What this was somebody acting like an ass. And that has nothing to do with cannabis. Like, I don't understand. And yes, I disagree, Dr. T. I think that if a 19-year-old has many people who only use it for medicinal uses definitely probably only use, you can testify more than I can. But the 19-year-old, like my generation had to blow smoke out a window so his generation could walk around Target and bust down a freaking vape pen. Yep. But I mean, this is so ridiculous. And let's also acknowledge for everyone's sake, because obviously you guys know, but it wasn't upgraded to murder charges because there was cannabis. It was upgraded to murder charges because he killed people. A lot of them.
No, it said it was upgraded to murder charges because they found the vape pen.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
It's a Schedule I drug.
I don't care.
Just saying.
I don't care. I'm a reasonable human being and I don't care.
Just saying.
He should have been charged with vehicular manslaughter initially.
I agree with that part.
Recklessly driving and killed people.
I totally agree with that part. He should have came out with the vehicular manslaughter from.
So if he'd have been going 110 miles an hour and slammed into those people and killed them, and there wasn't a vape pen in the car, did he not murder them?
I happen to agree with you on this one, Jenny Beth. I happen to agree with you on this.
You know why, Jason Beck? Because I'm always right, and if I'm not right, refer rule number 2. Jenny Beth is always right.
Yeah, that's my rule, Jenny Beth. You're trying. Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. That's cute. That's cute. Dr. Mark, any thoughts on this? It's a sad story.
Yeah, it's a sad story. So.
All right. Well,
I think that Dr. T and Jenny are right. You read between the lines here. There's no actual indication or proof that he was on any cannabis. There was just a vape pen in the car. That's
in his pocket. In his pocket.
it doesn't matter if it was in his pocket or whatever. That doesn't mean anything.
It does.
That 100%. It 100%.
Like my gun was in my center console, not visible.
Yeah,
so
exactly. It means it's within his reach, and so that's why lawyers will tell you to put your cannabis, lock it in the trunk or lock it in a glove box or something like that. So then that way you can prove that you can't actually access it while you're moving on the road. So yes, it being in his pocket.
Okay, so how many times did he hit it? Did he hit it 10 times in 10 minutes right before? Or did he hit it once 3 hours before?
We're waiting for the blood samples
back. What does it mean? It means nothing, and there's not actually any evidence of anything other than he had it on him.
Well, if his blood test comes back,
unalive.
Yeah, if his blood test
back though.
But Jesse, if his blood test comes back and he has cannabis in his system, that's going to be related in the causation right there. That's just how it is.
I agree with that, but that's not the way it is as of the writing of this story. So the writing of this story is a way to create propaganda because he had a vape pen without proving that he actually had cannabis in his system. So to just quote this and say that cannabis is the problem is totally incorrect.
No, Jesse, you're missing an important part of this, Jesse. You're missing the important part of it is that once police identified that it was a cannabis vape pen that they found in his pocket, then they upped the charges to the murder charges.
I don't see that in the story. I'm looking for that.
That's how I understood it.
I'm a read.
No, it doesn't say that.
Okay, because that's a problem if it is, but I don't think that's what it is. Hey, listen, bring back accountability 2026 because I'm sick of people blaming everything on weed. I'm sick of everybody blaming everything on, well, I was drunk, well, I was this, well, I was that. No, you were stupid and you made a bad decision. End of story.
Fair enough. And on that, make sure that you make a great decision this weekend and get outside and smoke some cannabis and be safe out there. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on over here. And thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.